And it is indeed time for Crossfire discussion this evening, one that many of you have been waiting for. I've been seeing your tweets, keep them coming. The hashtag is Crossfire. I'm at Sophia Wanuna. Would love to hear from you. Remember, we're also streaming www.ktnnews.co.ke. As well, you can link up with us there. Our conversation tonight, my guests in studio, I have the Madeira Member of Parliament, Rigathi Gachagua, and joining us from Malindi is the Jubilee Vice Chair, that's David Murathe. And gentlemen, thank you for being with us here on Crossfire tonight. Vice Chair, I want to begin with you because the big story coming out from Tuesday is the by-elections in Bonchari, in Rurii, as well as Juja. A whitewash for your party. Would you say that Jubilee has been vanquished off of this string of losses we've witnessed?
Good evening, Sophia. I don't know whether you understand what by-elections are all about. By-elections are held not on a public holiday. Elections are held when every voter is available to go out and vote. The turnout in Juja was 18%. There's a whole 82% of the Juja voters who did not participate. We have no way of telling which way they would have voted. As far as Bonchari was concerned, we ran a candidate who came second. The first one was ODM. We also had the UDA coming last. In Bonchari, it was a PDP seat. That area is predominantly an ODM zone. So I believe our candidate gave a very good account of himself. In terms of Rurii, the dynamics were the same as Juja. It is very possible to mobilize 4,000 votes, Sophia, but I don't know why people are blowing this thing out of proportion.
Vice
it's
Chair,
a small storm in a teacup.
Bottom line, you lost this by-elections. You talk about few numbers turning up. It is your responsibility to get out the vote, that you did not manage to do that, that you lost even in the voters that came out. Your Secretary General has already conceded. Why are you not as well saying that, yes, we lost?
Sophia, the party does not vote. It is people who vote. The party creates, facilitates, and mobilizes and organizes that people turn out to vote. If you remember our campaign slogan, and your friend Gachagua there will tell you, our motto was to get out the vote. And you get out the vote because it's a general election. When you're dealing with a by-election, it's not like people are not going to go to their jobs to go and vote when it's not a public holiday. They have to earn their bread and butter issues. So for us, it was sell our candidate, sell our policy. And by the way, Sophia, a lot of work went into this by-election. But at the end of the day, like the Secretary General has said, we have conceded because in the spirit of the vision of our party leader, we want people to be able to go into an election, cast their vote, go back to whatever they were doing, wait for the results, and life continues. This is the beginning of the future where we are not going to have people fighting over either a stolen election or rigged results or whatever. This is in line with the handshake philosophy and the BBI.
All right, let me bring in Honorable Rigathi, who's with me here in studio. You've heard what the Vice Chair had to say, but perhaps first to begin and say this. As a celebration, we have seen the DP take to Twitter immediately after, even sometimes some of the results came out. Momentum for you from the ground off of these by-elections. Do you see it that way?
Well, not really, Sophia. What we are happy about is that, especially we from the mountain, our people are finally free to do what they want. We are very happy. And people came out and voted the way they want, despite the intimidation, the harassment, the threats, the sheer force of government, the over-deployment of security forces. You saw in Georgia, you know, the policemen were half the people who came out to vote. They came from every police station in Kenya, in the central region. I've even found people from Kratina, where I come from, you know, 150 kilometers away. And despite all that, despite the deployment, you know what David Murathe is saying is that they did not come out. My God. The kind of campaign by government in Rurii, the chiefs, the assistant chiefs, Nyumba Kumi, the governor, the cabinet secretary for water, the member of parliament, the OCS, the non-commissioned officers in the police force. They have never seen such kind of deployment. The majority leader, you know, he was there, the chairman of budget.
In a ward by-election.
In a ward by-election. You know, there were 13 roadblocks, there were more than 1,500 police officers, and people were wondering, the last time they saw that kind of thing is during the state of emergency. They were wondering, is the government at war with its own people? So what Honorable Murathe, my friend, is saying is not true. They deployed heavily. There was a lot of money changing hands.
Well, he has said there's a lot of work that went in.
Yeah, he was trying to say it's not a major thing. It is very major, and he knows. You know, yesterday I went to Georgia, and people could not get change. You know, 1,000 shillings notes were all over. You know, there was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of money in circulation. Despite all that, the will of the people prevailed. That, to me and to our team, you know, is a very good pointer to what will come in the general election, where people's will is respected and it prevails despite what they are calling the system and the government machinery. That, to me, is what is important.
And I hear the Vice Chair wanting to interject and jump in. Perhaps speak to that, because there was concern of the very heavy deployment of security officers in these by-elections. Do you now, in hindsight, think it was overboard?
Sophia, the role of the government is to provide security. This was high octane in some of those areas like Bonchari. To the best of my knowledge, UDA did not have a candidate in Georgia. What Rigathi is not telling you is that he himself, Faith, and Nyoro and the others were camping in that small ward for the better part of the last 2 weeks, flying in with helicopters, bribing people. It is easy to bribe 4,000 people with 1,000 shillings. That is only 4 million shillings. And considering the amount of money these guys are purported to have looted, 4 million shillings is nothing. But anyway, to cut a long story short, I don't see why they are celebrating. It's like small children who have gone and eaten kadi from the store. And then, you know, they are jumping up and down. 2 MCA seats. They have a seat in London, and they have a seat now in Rurii. They don't have a single member of parliament. Their so-called Musambweni-friendly independent candidate voted yes with us on the BBI. So the fact that this PEP candidate has won the seat, my friend Rigathi has no idea how that man is going to behave when he comes to parliament. And if he's going to support the policies of Jubilee, I have no problem. This is the people of Georgia decided. And look, who says every time you run an election, you have to win an election? No, let us be very candid here. And Rigathi knows this.
Vice Chair, some may say... Whenever you go into
an election, you are going in... No, Sophia, let's be fair. You go into an election to win or to lose. Everybody goes in to win. But at the end of the day, there is only one winner.
But
Our Secretary General was gracious enough to concede that the will of the people of Juja in the by-election, 18% voter turnout, we respect it. We don't know where the other 82% would have gone if it was a general election. And by the way, if they are feeling so confident that this new kid on the block has started to walk or even to run, maybe it's a high time they took a walk and we do elections in their constituencies. We have already done that in 1966. When KPU left Jomo Kenyatta's party, KANU, we had what was called the little general election. If there are many enough, maybe it's a high time they agree. And like for Moses Kuria, he's perfectly in order to go and resign and run in Gatundu, run on a PEP ticket, and we will run a Jubilee candidate there. My friend Rigathi should be man enough and resign from Jubilee, run on a UDA, and we will run a candidate in Madeira. Come on, let's not jump up and about winning 2 wards.
2 words, but it sounds like you're pouring cold water, and some would argue you are being a sore loser on one hand. Do you think that would be apt to capture that response?
Well, what David Murathe is not saying,
yes,
is that we need to congratulate him for having wrecked Jubilee irreversibly. Jubilee lost in Gaturi Ward in Muranga. It lost in Lakeview Ward in Naivasha. It lost in Ladan Ward in Nakuru. It has lost in Rurii. It has lost in Juja. It has lost in Bonchari. It has lost 5 seats within a very short time. And this is a popular party. It's a party that came with a very strong wave. Along the way, this party has lost traction with the public. And David Murathe, my friends, is solely responsible for the unpopularity rate at which Jubilee is moving. And Jubilee is on path of self-destruction because of the kind of talk he's having now. A lot of arrogance, a lot of bravado. You know, why people did not turn out in Juja is because of the police deployment. Our people, especially for the mountain, don't like any sign of commotion, of violence. And it was intended. It was when they got intelligence reports, you know, Jubilee is government, and their access to intelligence. When they found that the tide is bad, they decided to play down on the turnout by over-deploying the security forces. The same in Rurii. But quite a number of people are courageous enough to come and cast their vote. What has happened, Sophia, and Murathe is not being carried. It is him and Tuju who have wrecked Jubilee by chasing people away, by being dictatorial, by being arrogant. And what has happened is what happened to KANU. At one time you found there are more people outside than inside. What is happening is they have been chasing people away, big people, leaders. But wananchi have left. And I can tell you, in my constituency, Madeira, I was elected by 54,000 people. People who love me for one reason or another. And I've added maybe another 10 because of working hard. They are out of Jubilee because they don't like the way Jubilee has treated me. And I want to tell these people, Juja is awakening call and Rurii. You know, they have been having a lot of bravado. System, government, Uhuru.
But to your point then, Honorable Rigathi, could it be that it is a protest vote?
It is a protest.
That bravado as you're talking about, as opposed to being support for you,
no, it's not, I'm not saying
that
it may not necessarily be our support. There is a protest, especially in the mountain.
Okay.
A serious protest. And this issue of using police to manage politics is not working well for the Jubilee government. People don't like it. This issue of threats, this issue of persecuting elected leaders, people who are popular in their own right, these people of talking people down like they do not exist. When the Honorable Kimunya, I've heard him trying to explain, when he was talking in Rurii in a church, before the altar, confidently, that if Jubilee loses, I will resign, he meant it. In his mind, he could not foresee a situation where Jubilee could lose. These guys live away from reality. They're just here in Nairobi, in clubs, in bars, in hotels, you know, drinking and having merry and believing in government. What they don't know is that the ground has moved on, it has shifted. So when Kimunya was talking, and I understand him perfectly, by the way, he meant well. And he believed there's no way Jubilee can lose. The guy is out of touch with reality.
All right.
The ground is different.
The ground is different.
And even in Juja, the ground is different. In Rurii, in Madeira, in Tetu, you know, in Muranga, in Naivasha, things are no longer the same. People moved on because of threats, because of intimidation. And of course, there are a lot of issues of here on economic problems. And when you give me time, I'll explain why this protest against government is so strong. And I can tell you it's a time bomb. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. What Gachagua Murathe has is nothing. This is just a pointer of things to come.
All right.
And they have played a very big role
in getting you to this
Especially
point.
David Murathe, he has played a very big role in getting Jubilee where it is today.
So let me take it to Vice Chair. You've heard that you really are the star in this act and getting your party to this point. But perhaps to the point Honorable Rigathi makes, Honorable Murathe, about the ground shifting, because Moses Kuria, the PEP champion, is the MP for the president. And to be able to stage such an upset there, and this is the second time he's doing that, just speaks to the ground shifting, and especially in the backyard of the president. Doesn't this concern you and the president?
No, no. Let me tell you, Sophia, these people are chasing after the wind. These people are targeting the president. The president is not a candidate in the next general election. The president is finishing his legacy projects. They should be busy focusing and competing with their potential competitors in 2022. Instead, what have they done? They have gone around Mount Kenya region. Number one, radicalizing the young people, because it is only in Mount Kenya where they take this narrative of hustlers and dynasties. Number two, they've tried to poison the people, that the president has not done anything for Mount Kenya. Sophia, when the audit is done, when people see what this president has done, not just for Mount Kenya, but for the rest of Kenya. We saw him today in Lamu. We will be seeing him again in Kisumu. These are people who came on board with other expectations of personal aggrandizement. The president is not about filling the pockets of individuals. The president is about infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. And I want to challenge you to go to the infrastructure in the whole country. Go to Western Kenya, go to Nyanza, go to Mount Kenya region, and you will find these people, they have lost it. These people thought we were going to build this party so that they can inherit the Jubilee party and run with it and take over from President Uhuru and business as usual. No.
Vice Chair.
Guilty as charged. We have been about removing these people from Jubilee so that we revamp this party, we recreate this party, we re-engineer this party. We are going to work with the people who share the vision of the president, because we do not share anything in common with these people.
Vice Chair,
it is true what Mheshimiwa is saying.
Yes.
We have actively been working to kick them out, and fortunately, they have worked out themselves, and they have formed their new party. The deputy president was on TV the other day saying he will be running on UDA. He cannot be the deputy party leader of Jubilee Party and the party leader of UDA at the same time, so that the minute an election victory of UDA is confirmed, he's the first person to tweet congratulating UDA. Come on, politics, there is decency in this business.
The party, you have not had it in you.
By the way,
Vice Chair, allow me to make this point, please.
We have no problem, Sophia,
allow me to make
with
a point.
competing with these people come 2022. But for us, they are going to their new found party. It's good riddance.
Well, you have had processes disciplinary in Jubilee to expel other people, but you right here on Crossfire some time back talked about expelling the DP as well, but it appears that has hit a snag. So it speaks to that punching that high, the party is unable to.
This week, Sophia, we are not about expelling people.
Yes, you have been.
If people want to walk themselves, no, you have Gachagua there, Regade. Ask him, for example, why was the DP missing when the president from Tanzania, Suluhu, came to Kenya? He was not at hand to receive her. He was not at the dinner. He was not at Parliament to escort her to address both houses of Parliament. Come on. You don't have to, this is not rocket science. If somebody chooses not to attend some of those by right, and by the way, whenever the president is out of the country or is not there, it is the deputy president who acts as the president. It's the office. So some of us cannot actually understand how it is possible, and I'm even surprised, I don't know whether they'll even be attending Madaraka Day in June in Kisumu.
But the thing is, the Vice Chair, at the end of the day, you did speak about an impeachment categorically, for which you have not pursued. But let me bring it back to Honorable Rigathi, because as Honorable Murathe was talking about, that perhaps this is being overplayed. Would you say you have admitted and considered that perhaps it was a protest vote and not so much of support for PEP and UDA? Would you also say that it is because you picked the right candidates and not necessarily as well that it's the hustler movement that's gaining momentum?
Sophia, what is happening? The hustler movement is unstoppable in the mountain. That Juja thing had nothing to do with the PEP. It's a hustler movement. And in Rurii is the same. I want to tell David Murathe, they are not building any party. The party has not held a meeting for the last 4 years. The only organ of the party is a disciplinary committee, the one that expels people. I don't know how you build a party by expelling people. And these people you are expelling have followers. And I want to tell David Murathe, please, you said you are going to kick out the deputy president from his residence. You have not done it. You said you are going to have people jailed. You are not doing it. You said you are going to kick out everybody from the party. Please, time is running out, David Murathe. You only have 13 months to use all this bravado and carry out all these threats. You know, you only have 13 months. And from there, you'll be a private citizen on the streets like everybody else. And, you know, make the hay when the sun shines. If you really intend to carry out these threats, stop, you know, bravado. You know, stop arrogance. Stop threats. You know, this is what has made Jubilee very, very, very unpopular. And I can tell you, going forward, Sophia, Kenyans are not stupid. David Murathe must know, the last time he was in Parliament, between 1997 to 2002, there was only one channel of communication, KBC. You know, you could joke around with people. The people who were born when he was a member of Parliament are today voters. They are in a different age. They are very knowledgeable. What happened in Rurii, Sophia, I can tell you. The governor was doing roads for the people of Rurii, things he had not done before the by-election. We are having graders there, we are having rollers, we are having tippers doing roads everywhere. The Minister for Water, the CS, Cecily Kariuki, she was doing boreholes. The chiefs were giving money. But people still voted Jubilee out because, one, they are very knowledgeable. They know these things that are being done are their entitlement. These are public funds. It's not a favor. And they also know it's being done because of the vote. So they said, we are not fools. This is a new generation. And I want to tell David Murathe, the people who depended on KBC are the people he talks about. And that is why the people working for Jubilee, Murathe, Atoli, these are people who belong to that age. They still think that you can chaperone people around and play around with their minds. People are very knowledgeable. You know, and I can tell you, these guys will be in for a shock. I don't want to say that this support is for us, but I know that when we went there ourselves, we don't talk to people, down to people. We don't threaten them. We don't intimidate them. We talk to them nicely and with respect. Kenyans like being respected.
Yeah.
They may be poor. They may be struggling. They may not have food on the table, but they have their pride and their dignity, and they like being talked to nicely. You know, I saw when Kivunya was talking in church, people were just looking at him because they know he's lying. He's not going to resign because he have said it before. He said he would rather die than resign. He resigned and he never died. And you know, now he has no credibility. And even what he has done now for the office of the leader of the majority, he has really discredited that office. Anything he says in parliament, who will believe it? Because he is saying he did not consult the people of Kipipiri, he needs to consult them. Okay. When he was saying these things, why didn't he consult them before? I want to tell David Murathe and Tuju and Natoli and all the people who are running Jubilee, we have a new age of people. This is a technological age. People are very knowledgeable. People have no job, but they are educated. They know many things. You can't just drive these people in a certain direction. You need to respect them. You need to know they have brains. They can chase us away from Jubilee. And I want to tell David Murathe, Jubilee has become a party that is fighting women. It's fighting people with disability. I mean, surely, you can't believe it. You know, and David Murathe knows the community myself and himself come from. It's a taboo to fight somebody with a disability. Isaac Mwaura is a young man, and he may have said something that is not pleasant to some people. But what I compare, when I compare with what Babu Owino said, you know, he called the president the son of a dog. Raila Odinga held, you know, conducted a ceremony to swear himself in against the president. We still now talk to Raila. We stay with Babu. What is this Isaac Mwaura?
All right.
You know, somebody who needs sympathy and empathy. And I want to tell David Murathe, my friend, because you are my friend, let me tell you, that thing you are doing to Mwaura will haunt you. One day, before the Almighty God, this is sad. Is a man, you know, and with albinism, is a man who needs sympathy and empathy. You know, you are fighting him like a snake. You know, and there's nothing that he has done that Babu, you know what he did, what Emilio Thiabo did, what Raila Odinga has done. These people have done terrible things to the president and all of us. So what is it that Mwaura has done that the entire guns are being, you know, taken to him?
And let him respond. I rebuttal on that, Vice Chair.
I think, Sophia, the pigment of somebody's skin is not a disability. There is nothing that I can do that Mwaura cannot do. There is nothing Gachagua can do that Mwaura cannot do. There is nothing Mwaura can do that we cannot do. In fact, we are going to have to revisit the definition of persons living with disability. But that's besides the point. The point is, if you have read the constitution of the party, if you are nominated by the party, if you flout the philosophy and the beliefs and the discipline of the party, look, Sophia, we would rather have a few loyal members of the party than have members who have one foot in and speaking from both sides of their mouth. My friend Gachagua was a staunch Nyayo person. Actually, he grew up in the Moi era. And he was one of the special Moi children. And he knows Moi and his disciplinary committee of Kina Okiki Amayo and Aringo and the others. You have to have discipline in a party. And if you don't like it, you can walk. There's so many examples. Mwai Kibaki walked out when he could not agree with the KANU. Matiba walked. People like Morumbi, way back in 1965, walked. Raila Odinga walked and formed his own party when he was no longer comfortable with Ford Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta walked from KANU and formed the TNA. These people don't have the guts to walk. They wanted us to create this machine for them to inherit from Uhuru Kenyatta, to come and ride on it and take power. We are saying we are cleaning our house.
You have forgiven those who have done worse.
With a few numbers.
You have forgiven others.
We have even forgiven Ruto. No, our first handshake